Constructivism in the learner-centered classroom. Somewhere around 400 years ago, an Englishman by the name of Francis Bacon introduced the scientific method as a new way of thinking and learning. At that time, Aristotelian thinking had been around for about 2,000 years. This popular way of thinking began with making assumptions, but this making of assumptions was later believed to cause errors in thinking. Bacon understood this and argued that this method was flawed and warned with a pretty profound and foreshadowing statement that if we begin our thinking with certainties, we end with questions, but if we begin with questions, we end with certainties. Barbara McCombs and Joe Sue Whistler, in their 1997 book, The Learner-Centered Classroom and School, Strategies for Increasing Student Motivation and Achievement, present the following widely accepted working definition of learner-centered education, which is the perspective that couples a focus on individual learners with a focus on learning. This dual focus then informs and drives educational decision-making. The learner-centered perspective is a reflection of the 12 learner-centered psychological principles in the programs, practices, policies, and people that support learning for all. The graphic clearly shows the difference between the two major learning approaches. On the right, the teacher and students are equally active participants in the learning process as the experiences and knowledge of all play a role in understanding. One can easily see the influence that learner-centered approaches have on the classroom setting and environment. The history of learner-centered instruction has one foot in philosophy and the other in psychology. On the philosophy side, Confucius and other early Chinese teachers emphasized good character and citizenship, while Socrates focused on the individual. Confucius believed that every person should strive for the continued development of the self until excellence is achieved. Lev Vygotsky studied children interacting in small groups and discovered that when children worked together to discuss and solve problems, they became more efficient thinkers and better equipped problem solvers than when they worked alone. This led to cooperative learning. Jean Piaget's ideas concentrated on the individual learner. He believed the learner constructs knowledge through the combination and interaction of previous experiences, new experiences, and the ideas already in place about their environment or task. At the core of this belief lie three theoretical foundations: constructivism, cognitivism, and humanism. For the purpose of this presentation, we will focus on constructivism. Keep in mind, however, that constructivism can be considered a branch of cognitivism. Constructivism can be defined as a perspective based on Piaget's theory that learners build their own knowledge individually and collectively, relying on their unique conceptions and skills with which they must construct knowledge to solve problems presented by their environment. Learning is therefore active, reflective, and collaborative. Humans create meaning as opposed to acquiring it. Gone are the days of sitting in rows of desks as passive learners of knowledge given to us. Anyone? John Dewey is considered to be the philosophical founder of constructivist theory and believed education should be problem-based and fun, and that the experiences of each learner should come from within each individual. Dewey also placed heavy importance on the notion that the richest learning involves our emotions. He encouraged real-world practical workshops where students are safe and free to be creative and collaborate with others. There are two major branches of constructivism: cognitive constructivism and social constructivism. Under cognitive constructivism, Piaget comes up again, explaining that new information is shaped to fit with the learner's existing knowledge. Also under cognitive constructivism is Jerome Bruner, proponent of discovery learning, whereby students are placed in problem-solving situations to discover facts and relationships by drawing on past experiences and existing knowledge. Bringing us to Social constructivism is Vygotsky, who believed that language and conceptual schemes are the social phenomena that lead to learning. This concept map paints a better picture of the theory of constructivism. It shows Piaget's concepts of assimilation, which is when a learner sees new objects or events in terms of already existing schemes, and accommodation, when existing schemes must be modified to make sense of a new experience. Learning is an active process and should take place in the context of real-world tasks. Vygotsky's side reiterates the importance of language and social interaction tools. His idea of the zone of proximal development, where learners can master what they can't understand on their own as they get help from teachers or other students who are more advanced at that particular task. Similar to ZPD is the more knowledgeable other. The more knowledgeable other, or MKO, refers to another person who has a better understanding or a higher level of ability with regard to a specific task or process. That could be a teacher, coach, tutor, or another student. These 6 concepts are fundamental to the theory of constructivism in the classroom and can be supported by a number of real-world experiences, including cognitive apprenticeships, which are like modeling and coaching, problem-based learning, which are your authentic performance-based tasks, multiple perspectives, which would be like collaborating and sharing, social negotiations, you're debating, discussing, defending, all go under that, technology integration, and reflective awareness, all of which are higher order thinking skills, another constructivist fundamental. Memory is a foundational attribute of constructivism. It is under constant construction as we rely on it to make sense of the world around us at any given moment. The emphasis is no longer on retrieving intact knowledge. Now it's about creating new and specific understandings based on past experiences relevant to the situation. Experiences created through authentic tasks increase efficiency of solving subsequent similar tasks. Therefore, learning should incorporate repetition, knowledge, and context. Technology is an essential part of learning, but some research shows that while we've had technology in the classroom for almost 2 decades, many teachers are still not utilizing it to the maximum benefit of the student. So for technology to truly be an integral part of a learning environment, it must do a number of things. It must support curriculum standards. Technology tasks should provide opportunities for collaboration, inquiry, and extensions while taking into account student ability level and past experiences. Hopefully, school and district leaderships are continuing to encourage growth and innovation with respect to technology and realize the vital role it plays. Some experts believe educators have a responsibility to understand the philosophies and theories that make up a given instructional framework. Sometimes we fall back into the habit of being practical, focusing on the day-to-day issues and challenges that teaching brings. This division between the theoretical world and the practical world should not exist if we are to embrace this relatively new, yet not so new, learning movement of learner-centered education.